Hello, it's Truth So Seeker here.
Yeah.
I'm here with Ilias today, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a podcast. If you don't know what a podcast is, it's basically we're going to go ahead and just give our general thoughts about stuff and just kind of talk to give you something to listen to if you ever wanted to. And we're basically going to be talking about some of the things. I say some, there's plenty of things.
Oh, there's plenty.
There's plenty of things that is wrong with this game. In terms of like just general matchmaking, though, I have been sick and tired of seeing dodgers just left and right, duck dodgers.
I don't even know why there's duck dodgers out there. Like, there's people who say it's because you're a 50, but people have dodged me, and I'm like ranked 31 right now or something like that.
I remember I got this message just earlier today. Where someone dodged me and they dashboarded, and then I'm searching, and probably like 4 or 5 minutes later I find them again and they dodge again, and so I messaged them and I asked them, I'm like, why are you dodging? He says because he's tired of having 5-minute games and he wants to have a good game and actually play a long game. And
so he's one of those people who are like, you suck because you rush.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of get it. I understand, because I was somewhat the same way with Halo Wars 1. I know I would get mad at people that rush me.
That's way back in the day, though.
I'm not going to lie, and it seems kind of counterproductive to maybe the high-level community, but I actually feel like they should make defensive options much stronger, just to kind of support the new players to the game.
I think that's why that they put in strongholds, though, where you start out with 4 turrets on your base.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody wants to just play a game type. They want to play the actual game mode, which is going to be deathmatch, you know? So it's just something I've always thought about, is that you should have more defensive options.
Plus, I don't think Strongholds is very fun in comparison to Deathmatch, at least.
No. I mean, I kind of like Objective, but I mean, at least it's definitely better than Strongholds.
Maybe make like a Deathmatch style, like mixed with Strongholds, where you start with turrets or more money, so you can build turrets, something like that.
Yeah, something else I really don't like is just how there's not enough engagement to actually try and learn. Like they don't have any good ways for new players to actually go about learning the game. You know,
other than skirmish, which
what's that gonna do? Like, how do they know the advanced stress? Like, I mean, of course you have the tutorial which shows you basic stuff like air beats vehicle beats infantry, that stuff, but that generally doesn't. No, I can't hear it. That generally doesn't. Really teach them how to actually compete, and at least the community in general for 1v1 is really competitive.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, even in like skirmishes and stuff like that, you're not gonna find out like if a Hornet beats a Banshee or how many Hornets it takes to take down a Reaver. You can, but
like, it's hard to really test that because like the AI is just gonna build something random.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can't test that kind of stuff. It just it's too.
I guess you could do it with other people.
RNGesus,
that's right. But yeah, other than that, I mean, like the fact that there's not that many people playing the game, it's kind of sad, really. The game promoted so well. You know, like there was such great promotion. If you saw the beta had like
a lot of people playing.
I think it was like millions of people playing the beta.
I think that was something like that. A lot of people were really excited for Halo Wars 2, and then they played the beta and they were like, this is not what I wanted. Like, what is this, Blitz?
This game was so rushed.
Yeah.
It was so rushed. Like, I mean, you can even see it too, because with all of the way that units and just stuff functions now, you see, like, it's crazy.
It really is. I mean, back in the Blitz days, there were like really bad lag outs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's still like a more of a rare problem nowadays, but I mean, it's still a problem. I mean, there was that night whenever we were playing that game and we were beating this colony player and we lagged out.
Oh yeah.
That was annoying.
And then there's games where the game just kind of is stuck on the loading screen. I've only had it happen like 2 or 3 times out of like several hundred.
And also this is more of a glitch as well, the audio glitch.
Oh yeah,
I hate that audio glitch.
Oh dude,
it's the worst thing.
If you don't know what we're talking about, basically the game will sometimes start, And you know the music that's playing in the beginning. I'll go ahead and play an audio clip here for you. But basically, the game will continue having this audio play when the game starts, and it won't have any actual music playing. It's kind of ridiculous.
Not even just the music, like, there won't be any, like, unit sounds, no gunfights, you won't get warnings that you normally get, which they're glitched anyway. That? Yes, all that.
Well, I mean, they didn't work anyway, but now they work even less, basically.
They don't work at all. You don't hear it, period. You just hear that music. Oh, it's so annoying, that loading music. I literally mute my TV whenever I hear that, or I mute my headset, or something.
Yeah, on that topic, though, let's talk about some things that don't work in this game.
Okay, let's see. There's a large list of... Okay, let's see. About 30 pages here.
Alright, let me just pull down the list. Okay, so anyway, we'll start with actual buildings and not actually registering or just confirming what you actually told it to build.
So if people don't know what we're talking about, basically if you just queue up a building too quickly, it won't queue up the building.
Well, I've also noticed cases where if you hold up, if you're like scrolling up or something, so like let's say you go back to your base and you have a building slot in your top left or top right, so you're naturally going to be pushing up on the analog stick and you're going to push A. I've noticed that tends to trigger it to not queue the building more often.
Or even less, if you just queue up the radial menu, it'll just kick you out of it in general, and then you'll have to go back to it. And, like, you have to take your time, and that's dumb. Like,
whenever it's a game about clicks per minute, CPM, it's like absolutely essential you do things as fast as possible. And if you have to do it at a snail's pace, that's a really bad combination for an RTS. Very really unprofessional.
I mean, that's probably one of the first things I think net need fixed in this game.
Yeah, it's one of the first things, and they're just gonna. Well, we're adding a new leader this season. We did some patch updates. We fixed some bugs. We made the locust range of sight a little lower because we know you guys were wanting that.
Adding a new leader that everybody knows and love, Colony.
That's right.
Everybody loves Colony.
Launchers.
Oh my god, that was ridiculous.
But yeah, the locusts. They've been nerfed, I think, 3 or 4 times now, which is kind of funny.
What happened? I know their cost got increased, their speed got decreased.
I think their speed got decreased twice, actually.
Twice?
They were really speed demons before.
They were Sanic-based.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it kind of annoyed me whenever I looked at the patch updates, and people still tell me that they're not OP. And I kind of feel that they really, truly aren't, but they're still broken. I mean, something can be a bad unit but still have a broken feature to them. Because, I mean, if you don't know, like, units have 2 ranges. They have a line of sight, which is what they can see, and they have a line of attack, which they can actually attack from. And hearing that the Locust could attack too far, they nerfed their line of sight, so they can't see very far now. But if something can see for them, like a garrison unit gives them extra line of sight or whatever.
You just put them in the back of your army even.
Yeah, then they can shoot miles away, and the problem still's there. And
considering they have low health, and like you're going to want them in the back anyway, so I mean...
In terms of health and attack, I actually feel that they're kind of okay. Maybe a very slight nerf to damage against general units. But other than that,
I think they're fine with the units. I say a slight nerf to the buildings, to be honest. That's what I'd like to see. Like,
I could see that too.
Like nothing be like a 5% reduction, because honestly, anything other than like Tech 1 and potentially Tech 2 units.
Yeah, they're really bad against tanks, by the way. They are disgustingly bad.
Yeah, like you can have like 6 aiming down one tank, and like that tank will just laugh and charge at you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, like, whenever the enemy has units, if they can rush you down, like, because locusts are much slower now.
Yeah.
So they can kill it pretty easily. And I actually am starting to feel that they're actually not that good anymore because of that. But again, like, for people to say they're not broken when they still have a broken feature to them, I can't really agree with that.
I agree that they're kind of broken. Just.
Well, another thing I hate, by the way, is the freaking grunts. In general. Just, I mean, it's not even one thing. It's
like 4.
Yeah, it's several things. Basically, first of all, units are supposed to pick up supplies when you tell them to, generally. I mean, they did it very rarely in Halo Wars 1. Actually, Halo Wars 1, they went up above and beyond. They would sometimes pick up supplies even when you told them not to.
Yeah, they just stop by and they're like, ooh, money, I bet
I'm going to drive my Warthog all the way back. I'm going to drive back and pick that up.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, that's not a bad thing. It's kind of annoying, but, like, at least you're getting money for it.
It's still a bad thing, but, like, this is even worse.
And in this game, you tell them pick up money, and they just either look at it like, that'd be awesome if I could pick that up, or they just run in circles like idiots.
Well, in particular, like, it seems to only be a few specific spots. Like, there's one spot on Vault where they'll do that, I've noticed.
Well, that's just the running in circle thing. Like, there's like all over the place, there's a chance that they won't pick up the money.
Well, I'm just talking about, you're saying running in circles. I was just talking about that. But yeah, I mean, I get especially worried when the grunts are actually sitting in the supplies. That makes me really think that they're not doing it.
My god, that's scary. Like I have to look at them and just like stare them down to see if they're picking up money.
And the thing that's even worse is, like, you know, usually there's an icon that'll show up to show that they're picking up the money. And sometimes the game will glitch even further and it'll show them actually picking up the money. Like, the little box will show up, the box with the little plus symbol, but they still won't be picking it up. And that's actually kind of ridiculous, because you could look at it, see that they're picking it up, or see the icon that shows they're picking it up. They're in the animation because they have a separate animation for when they're picking it up, and they're still not picking it up.
Like, yay, like, I can tell you several times where I've seen that happen, and I'm like, all right, you're picking up money, you're being a good grunt, being smart, go back, queue up something, you know, ignore them, check back up on them 20 seconds later, and they're, like, none of the supplies are gone. Like, they're just sitting in it.
It's like, really bad when it's really bad when it's the first one, too, like one of your first grunts, because that money's essential.
Yeah, you need to get that money. If you don't get that money, and like your other, especially if your other grunts do it, like you're gonna have delays on your base, and that's almost a GG right there.
And a lot of times I rely on the first 3 starting grunts to actually cap a node.
Yeah.
So, like, if one is still back at the start, you're like, okay, I need him to pick up this money now, but that means the other 2 grunts are going to go far ahead, and I can't cap the node now, and it can be a cycle that just leads to further and further delays.
Speaking of node. And picking up money. I love it whenever I tell grunts, specifically on, I think that one's called Vault, right? With the garrison in front of your base?
That's Rift.
Rift, alright, my bad. Rift. Yeah, Rift. That one in particular, the node closest to your base has 2 little piles of power. And if you tell your grunts to go pick up one of those, it won't pick up the second one. But once it finishes picking up the first pile, it'll just go cap the node.
Well, there's a chance. Sometimes, like, and I hate this because, you know, I sometimes try to put the grunt behind the little piles of power so that it's right against the wall. And it's hard to do, but I do it to try and avoid him going for the node. But sometimes he'll still do it anyway.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I'd say I don't do that. I just tell him to go pick up the money. And I'd say about 80% of the time he runs for the node. And it's so annoying.
And also when he picks up both piles, you say there's like a chance he'll do it with the first one. I think there's a chance he'll do it with the second one, too.
Yeah. I mean, and setting the rally point doesn't help, because you have to set like a separate rally point per pile. Like, that's especially annoying for supplies. But
what, you mean like a waypoint?
Yeah. Well, did I say rally point? Yeah, I meant waypoint.
It also annoys me even more because, just continuing on this topic with grunts being bad in general, sometimes, I mean, when you tell them to cap a node or something, they just don't do it.
You just kind of stand there like, that's a pretty node.
It's honestly, it's really infuriating sometimes because you lose like 10 or 15 seconds sometimes on this.
Because it's like, all right, I tell you to cap the node, and then you go do something else, come back. It's like, all right, you should be done, and they're just standing there, and it's like...
And sometimes they refuse to cap it whenever there's sentinels nearby. They just won't do it. I mean, I understand if you're going to make it so you can't cap it when there's sentinels there. I understand that would avoid cheesing into the sentinels, like with like 2 grunts or something to get temporary control. I could see that. But it's clearly a bug because you can sometimes do one or the other. And it's not consistent.
It's just randomized. Like
RNGesus.
RNGesus. All hail.
You gotta love it, man. You just gotta love it. Something else on a separate note now is like the actual buildings. I've been thinking about what orders to actually go about them. Like, you know, Raid Camp 5th is generally a good option against UNSC.
Yeah. suicide grunts.
For trying to go suicide grunts and whatnot. But I've seen a lot of cases where it just generally doesn't work out. For example, if they go jackrabbits, like that'll just overwhelm us. So you basically have to go like an apex into a raid camp. But if you do that, then the jackrabbits will just allow the enemy to get control of the nodes, and you're basically the same scenario as Season 1, where you have to fight back to get control of the nodes. And on a map that's really big, like Volt.
Hate that map.
I mean, the thing is, once UNSC gets to Tech 3, they get a lot stronger with those tanks, because, I mean, those tanks, especially Isabel tanks, although you really don't have to worry that much about Isabel right now.
You don't ever see anybody good playing Isabel.
No. But, I mean, once they get to mass tanks, it's kind of scary to deal with. You can't really fight it directly, and, I mean, if you're having to rely on base trading, it just seems like something that shouldn't be, I don't know, what the main line is.
I mean, the anti-vehicle for the UNSC, the Cyclops, they just get destroyed by freaking canny tanks.
Well, specifically against Isabel canny tanks. Yeah, but even just normal tanks. Like, yeah, the canny is...
Like, hunters are way better against them, and, like, it's not saying much, because they still don't do that much, even, like, tier 3 hunters.
Yeah.
With assault beam. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I definitely feel that, like, the canny in particular needs a nerf. It does way too much damage. I mean, I guess you could make the cost of the canny cheaper as well, because it's like 900 power for the canny.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Maybe drop to like 700 power. That sounds like more fair.
Yeah, I mean, it is a tier 3 upgrade for the unit. Or a tier 3 unit that you're upgrading. So I could see if you're going to upgrade a tier 3 unit, it should be expensive. So that seems fair.
Well, if that's the case, then they should make the Wraiths upgrade cost less than that, because it's not as good as a canister shot.
Yeah, they actually nerfed it too, remember?
Yeah, what was it? It was like a 50% damage reduction.
Yeah,
that's a huge nerf. And they only...
Granted, I think it kind of needed it.
I mean, they did buff the power. I mean, like, it was 900 as well, but then I'm pretty sure it was 900 as well.
For what?
The Scorch.
What is it now, like 850?
Yeah. Like, it's 50 power less, but I mean... It's 50 power. It's not much of a thing. It's not
Wraiths
much.
Can't stand... It's basically the same as Halo Wars 1. Wraiths can't stand up to tanks. Granted, Wraiths are actually usable now, but...
Yeah, I think they're good, but, like, if you hit, like, endgame where it's tanks versus Wraiths, like...
Yeah, tanks will just crush.
Yeah, your UNSC's gonna win, like, end game, unless you can, like, outposition them.
Which, I mean, I guess I can kind of see with the teleport. Yeah, on the point of teleporting, though, that leader ability is kind of broken, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd definitely say it needs nerfed. Like, really bad. Especially Shipmaster.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the exact cooldown is. It's like a minute 30, 2 minutes or something.
I'd say it's closer to a minute 30. 2 minutes sounds way too long. Like, you get that thing back fast.
I mean, and since that's, at least for Shipmaster, that's your first leader point, like, I mean, I guess you can't exploit it so much in the beginning, but... To be able to teleport your army...
I'd even say you could exploit it in the beginning. Because, I mean, think about a Shipmaster versus any UNSC.
Well, the Grunts,
yeah. Teleport suicide Grunts right into the middle of their army. And then that's what, 150 power, and then 2 suicide Grunts to black bar most of their stuff, if not outright kill it.
And the thing is it doesn't even have to be a necessarily good trade in terms of supplies and resources in general, but... first off, it actually kind of usually is.
Yeah, they're cheaper to make, and they don't take as long to make.
But the thing is like, I feel like when you're playing as Banished, you usually end up defending and switching to offense. So, if you can reduce their army, that means they got to rebuild it, and that buys you time. And I feel that just in general, the later into the game it goes, I feel that the Banished just start to become better. It's like Colony. We're Colony.
Rest in pineapples, you will be missed. Yeah.
At least in terms of direct engagements. And I know I was just saying how tanks are really strong for UNSC, but this goes back into the point of that the later the game goes, since Banished is getting better, they're not getting better because of the direct engagements. They're getting better because they just don't fight the UNSC. They just avoid any conflict and just base trade. That's basically how.
Yeah,
it
you
goes.
just get back to locusts. You just want the locusts for the base damage, not to kill the units.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I think that maybe people are going back and forth on locusts or OP. Like, there's some people that are saying, well, locusts just die and they don't fight, and that's true. But if you manage to secure some sort of position with other units, maybe you don't have to fight their whole army. But, like, say they have 2 bases, right? So you have your army start hitting one base, they come to you, you just teleport with your locusts to the other base, and that base is going to either get stripped hard or just get killed.
And if you're Shipmaster, then you can just displace their
If
army.
you're Shipmaster, you can move your army and their army wherever you want. Like,
literally, it's like, I'm going to go hit your main, and then they're there. It's like, I'm going to teleport to your expo, and then they come to you, and then you just displace them away.
Oh, yeah, that first. And then when they come back, then you extract.
Yeah, I mean, and by that point, you've definitely killed at least one of their bases, potentially killed a second base.
And then your teleport's back.
Yeah, you extract away, and then like they try to counter push, and then you just teleport back up, and it's game. It's ridiculous.
It really is. Shipmaster, I mean, I'm not going to say that he really needs so much of a nerf. It's more of the teleport needs nerfed, and that a lot of other leaders kind of need a buff to help them stand out, because, in particular, Isabel, I mean, I know she's been, quote, buffed, and a lot of her abilities were made cheaper, but the thing is first off, fix hologram. Just fix it. It doesn't work. You can still see the holograms in a lot of games, and
just don't target those. It's not hard.
Yeah, I mean, I guess your units could be kind of dumb, but in general, it's
it's good for like 5 seconds, like for the first 5 seconds of the engagement. Then they're like, oh crap, where did all these units come from? Like, oh wait, they're glowing blue. I better just target the ones that aren't.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of dumb, and then when you consider that. Overall, what does she have that stands her out? She has hologram, which we just said is useless. She has accelerated assembly, which is alright.
But Forge has that too. She has Ghost in the Machine, which
I mean, that's a 5th point, and I mean
the recharge rate on it's ridiculous. Like it takes
and the
way
cost
too long.
is really really expensive.
I don't even know what the cost is. I don't play Isabel.
It's like either 1,400 or 1,700 supplies.
Jesus. Something to note though that is good about it is if you're on a game loss timer. And you take control of all their units. They technically don't have units, and that's a game. Like,
yeah, I actually had that happen one game, and
that was just us last night, I believe.
Yeah, and we were like, "Wow, that's a thing." Apparently,
it was ridiculous, honestly. But I mean, sure, those are all good end game things. But Isabel dies end game or before the end game.
I mean the thing is, I can kind of. I feel like she could be a good leader if she could make hologram, because I think hologram has a lot of potential to be a very strong option. First off, I do think it needs to be, believe it or not, still slightly cheaper, and maybe a slight... I guess the cooldown's about fine, honestly.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think it still needs to be slightly cheaper. It needs to actually do its job. It needs to actually work.
I think that they need to do damage, the holograms, like not the normal damage, like maybe even a fourth of the damage, like shoot Nerf bullets for all I care, but give it something other than just like soaking up damage. Yeah, because
the thing is like, for example, Kinsano has her Heat of Battle, which is extremely strong.
Nerf.
And Cutter has these extremely fast units. Forge has the eco to produce more than Isabel. Anders has her frickin' Kodiaks of Death. Like, everyone has something that gives them some sort of boost in battle. And then Isabel she doesn't have anything. I could see if you could make the holograms work better. I could see that definitely working. Because the thing is, you just need to buy time to get to Tech 3. And if you could stall them if hologram actually worked, I could imagine... It doesn't matter if their army's stronger at that point, because then you can afford to do a trade, quote, so long as they're mostly killing holograms.
Granted, that's RNGesus again, hoping that they...
I
call it RNGesus, but like it's really up to the opponent as to whether or not they shoot down the non-holograms. It's kind of random at that point, that's what I mean.
But I can still see you trying to make that work as a strategy.
Yeah.
The thing is, she doesn't have a strategy right now.
It's kind of just bum rush to Tech 3 and pray to God you don't die.
Mm-hmm. While still trying to, like, fight for nodes and somewhat, but I mean, the fact is like they'll take control of the nodes and then they'll just push on you, and you're not gonna have nearly enough time to make anything work.
I mean, I've seen an Isabel player, like she got to Tech 3 by like the 8-minute mark and was like had like 2 or 3 tanks and like a Kodiak or 2 out, but I was on max pop of like locusts and rangers, and I had like 2 hunters in there, and once I saw what she was doing, I just double pumped hunters and upgraded their tier, and like I just won. There was nothing she could do. She tried her hologram, I just targeted those down, and like that was it.
Yeah, and I know I keep saying this, but I just think that if you make hologram actually work as intended, again, ever so slightly lower cost, that I could see it working.
That'd be nice. I wish it.
Yeah, let's talk about my babe Anders here, because
everybody likes Anders.
Yeah, she's my old babe from Halo Wars 1.
Everybody's old babe from Halo Wars 1. OP.
Now, I played Anders whenever Season 2 first came out. I played her until I got to Diamond. Or was it Onyx? I can't remember.
It was Diamond.
It was Diamond. Yeah, I struggled immensely because, first off, I think her tier upgrades is totally fine. That at least allows her to compete in a lot of ways, because her units can be a higher tier than the opponents. I mean, her Kodiaks are more of a support thing. She can't really turtle as well as she used to be able to, which is, I guess, fine. Because if she really got a good defense set up on some maps, I think, was almost unstoppable in terms of defense. And then it was kind of awkward because she could never really push or anything. So, yeah, it was whoever would stay in the game longer. But at least now she can actually do aggressive things, and I think that's fine. But she still has general problems against the Covenant, and this again goes back to why I think Covenant's just superior, is because they can outmaneuver. I mean, of course, you can always engage directly against them, but I mean, when they go massive amounts of Rangers and Hunters, and maybe even Engineers, there's not really much you can do about that. I mean...
And Shrouds.
Yeah, Shrouds. The Shrouds hard counter Kodiaks, but again, I think that's fine. It's part of the game, in essence. They are more expensive, unless you're a Shipmaster and you get the upgrade for them. But I think, honestly, overall, they're probably fine. The Shrouds. But what I think needs to be done to her is she needs something a little more to deal with Covenant, and this goes for all UNSC, because as they are right now, they like we've been saying, they just get outmaneuvered and
teleport. It's a thing.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, just nerfing teleport. What do you think? Maybe maybe increase it to 200 power and maybe double the time.
Yeah, I think maybe double the time might not be quite enough. Because I mean, if you double the time of teleport, then you run into the problems of Shipmaster, like being able to like just do a lot of scary things with extract and.
Well, I'm just saying this would at least help with UNSC versus Covenant, because right now Covenant suffers with all of the, or UNSC suffers against all Covenant.
I'd say I think honestly, other than that, I do agree that it does need nerfed, and yeah, but I think that honestly, all UNSC should get a Pelican. Like that sounds like it'd be something like to also help counteract the teleport.
Yeah, something I've never understood is why people don't use teleport, or not teleport, the Pelican for Forge, because I've fought a lot of the higher ranked Forge players, and just none of them use it. I mean, I understand you go Grizzlies, you use Kodiaks, yeah, because that's the drop, and I think that's a good option. I really like the Kodiaks, being an Anders main and all, but I don't understand, like, since your units are already so slow, why you wouldn't get that. It seems like it'd be a good option.
The thing that I can think of is that if you get you Pelican in and you get into a bad engagement, and you're just like, I want to get out of here. You can't, because your units right now, the only person who has it is Forge. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna want, if you go Grizzlies, then you're just really slow. If you go Hornets, you don't need the Pelican.
Something else worth noting is maybe another reason for it is like people just don't have anything to. They want to spend the points on other things, because you think about it, you have accelerated assembly, which would be very nice with Grizzlies. You got the Grizzly Balatin, you got combat salvage.
It's great.
You got the Kodiak drop.
It's amazing. Heavy Metal, Rolling Eco.
Heavy Metal has 3 as well. Does it have 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Forge has 3.
Forge has 3, yeah. So there's a lot of things you would want to put that point into. So I guess I could see that, but it just seems like you're going to be too defensive otherwise.
Maybe not get it like early game, maybe like mid game-ish, like like the end of the mid game seems like whenever you're starting to produce Tech 3 units like Grizzlies.
Well, I mean, you would end up going something like Rolling Eco 1, 2, Heavy Metal, and then what would you have? You would have access to, I think, Accelerated Assembly and the Kodiak drop.
I think it's debatable on which one you'd want there. I think Accelerated Assembly, and then Kodiak drop.
And then Grizzly Balatin, and then I guess maybe then Transport, but that's really freaking late in the game. That's really, really late.
I mean, in combat salvage is nice and all, but like since you're really slow, like they just don't engage you and they just walk away, and then you just wasted all those supplies and power.
If they spot it, I'm actually wondering how that if they. I mean, of course you can. You were saying you can see like a mist on death from killing a unit?
No. Whenever they use it, it has that distinct sound and like wave. But if they use it outside of your range, they'll have like a green triangle that like points up above their health bar. And like, I don't know of anything else that Forge has other than Heavy Metal. No, wait, no. Even if it was Heavy Metal, it'd have the green triangle and then the red triangle for the nerf on the speed.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure if you see that, you just don't engage, and then you just wasted
I've had
that.
Games like where I just am like, oh, you use combat salvage? I'll see you. I'll be back in a minute.
And then they're just like, well, I just wasted a lot of money for literally no reason, and its cooldown is ridiculously long. I mean,
yeah, that's honestly kind of. I can see the point, of course, because if you have it really short,
on paper it works like that. But sorry, I didn't mean to. Go ahead, continue.
No, I know. Another leader, though. Let's talk about Kinsano, because
Kinsano.
She's been a really how do I say it? She's been a really changed leader ever since her release.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been OP, then she was nerfed, and then she was nerfed, and she was nerfed again. But I still think she's probably the best UNSC, probably. Of course, her Flame Hogs. I mean, you said that you think that they're still good.
I still think they're really good. Maybe not maybe not just an army of Flame Hogs, but definitely putting like a bunch in with your army. I feel like that's still.
I mean,
still a good
you got
thing.
the drop, and I feel like at least getting the 3 Flame Hog drop is a good option. But the heat of battle in particular, that's just killer. That's killer.
I'd say either just nerf it to oblivion. Or freaking make it like Kinsano's like 4th point, 5th point.
I think throwing it like the first point, that's ridiculous. That's like it's so ridiculous because if you're ever fighting another UNSC, basically, if you go infantry, she goes infantry, and
you lose.
You can't engage. And I've had both scenarios of this. First off, I've had scenarios where we both engage with early units. You got to basically make sure she never gets 1 kill, or else her unit is basically as strong as 3 or 4 of yours. And if you try to say, okay, I'm just going to try and avoid engagements, then it's not avoidable. Because once she gets a big enough army out, she can force the issue. She'll push on either the nodes, your mini bases, or your main, and you have to respond. You have to engage them at that point.
And even if that doesn't happen, another one of her points that she get early on is what is it, Redline? Mm-hmm. That makes them fast
and do more damage.
Yeah, well, really, I didn't know about that part. So they get a speed buff on top of her already broken heat of battle. So that makes her way stronger than all the other units and faster, except Cutter. But that basically puts Isabel and Forge out of the running right then and there. Mm-hmm. The only thing Cutter has is his speed. But if Kinsano has the speed and the damage,
even Anders doesn't compete, because I know
I forgot Anders. My bad.
Well, I was wondering if you were excluding her, because I've tried fighting. Since she has, reduced cost, I'm like, okay, if I get the tier upgrade and the upgrades for their units, then I should theoretically be stronger. And that's what I've used to try and justify fighting as Anders against other UNSC. But I mean, just from experience, that heat of battle is just so much stronger. It basically raises them to tier 3 units. Basically.
For those of you that don't know, you can't get tier 3 unless you're on Tech 3. So
I mean...
And to be able to get that within the first 4 minutes of the game, that's a little ridiculous.
But yeah, like... I think putting the heat of battle as a third or fourth point is totally fine. I mean, she needs to have something to be good, and... Well, I mean, she has plenty of things to be good. Her Inferno is still a great option.
It really is. I think, speaking of which, I think that needs a slight nerf as well. Like,
I'm glad they nerfed her leader the Kinsano Cyclops, because that thing was just broken. You couldn't actually target that with snipers, so she could just run by you to your base, behind your base, and basically push Y, and she would start melting all your buildings. In addition to Flame Hogs just running around, basically same kind of problem that UNSC have against Covenant, is she would basically just outmaneuver you. And
with our Flame Hogs with Redline and the heat of battle, like, that's just crazy.
I think she needs something else nerfed, or the UNSC needs some sort of buff. And this could be something that could fix both problems with Covenant and Kinsano, is UNSC needs something to address fast-moving armies. They need something to deal with that.
Especially Forge.
Especially Forge, yes.
We all hope that Forge's bald head would be great one day.
We would only hope. But I think that's something that needs done with him. I mean, should we really just touch on Cutter? I feel like he's actually not.
I think he's honestly fine where he is.
I think he's totally fine. He's a very strong option. I think he's one of the best, because he's one of the only people that can fight Covenant right now. I was just mentioning how the speed, you need to address fast-moving armies. I feel like he's one of the only leaders that can actually do that due to his UNSC raid.
Does his UNSC raid increase the vehicle speed as well?
No, just infantry.
Just infantry. All right, well, that is a strong option regardless. So.
It's still very good. Yeah, I mean, you can even cap and decap with Jackrabbits. That's nice.
That's nice, yeah.
I think he's fine.
Yeah, I'd say that he's totally fine where he is. His gunship's not overpowered. I mean, It costs, I think, a good amount.
Yeah, I'm overall really satisfied with how he is. Just to move on to the Covenant, I think we already somewhat touched on Shipmaster. So, I think we'll go with Colony now, because Colony, he kind of lacks the basic problem that he can't teleport. He has no forms of quick movement. And I think this is kind of like an interesting flip to what we were just saying, because a lot of the Covenant have something that makes them overpowered without maneuvering, whereas Colony is very slow.
He can place walls!
That's right, he can place walls. But he can't really outmaneuver. And that's not to say that he's bad. I still have mixed feelings about Colony.
I think that he's bad, but he's also good. It's a weird vibe I get from Colony.
I'm not decided on him. At first I thought he was just, okay, he's just bad, obviously, because Covenant just booms Tech 2, goes Locust, teleports, GG. But I'm not so convinced anymore, because early hits, Colony seems to strive with early hits and in direct engagements. And I can see trying to force issues working for Colony. Maybe working, at least. If the Covenant, or if the Banished can boom to Tech 2 to get Rangers, I feel like, Rangers and Hunters, I feel like he's kind of shut down at that point. If you couldn't manage to make anything big happen.
And a shield.
Well, it depends how big, but yeah, shield if it looks like he's going for a very big hit. Which I think he kind of should, because if you don't, then, again, if you're just forced to turtle back, specifically against Shipmaster, since your army's so slow, if you just let them build up, they get an army of, like, Locusts and Hunters. They teleport to your base, they displace your army, you lose.
Yeah, it's literally game over.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have that Hunter Captain in the midst somewhere, like, that's going to slow down your entire army.
Yeah, that thing. I am glad they buffed his speed. He was way too slow before.
I still think he needs another buff to his speed. Nothing big though, because if he starts becoming like really fast, then that's scary.
Yeah, that would be honestly really scary. He would be. Basically, one of the only reliable leaders. Speaking of reliable leaders...
Oh, wait, his Y ability, though.
Hmm?
Remember how his Y ability doesn't work?
Yeah, his Y ability is supposed to make units target them, or target him, but they kind of just don't.
Yeah. Me and Truth here were playing a game earlier, and we rushed these guys with a colony leader, and they were aiming down our engineers, and we were like, all right, we're just going to taunt you. And they just kind of kept targeting our engineers, and we were like, well, this isn't working as intended, obviously.
Yeah, I honestly am so surprised that they released this stuff, and
after like 2 delays.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and they never spotted this. I mean, you would think the first thing you would test is what the Y ability does. Like,
speaking of which, I don't even like his Y ability.
I honestly think it's okay.
I think it'd be potentially good in a garrison, or if he's even teched, but like early on, it's just kind of like.
No, I mean you could say that, but I actually really disagree. If you have something that's really strong, and if we had engineers, like, they would be forced to aim at our captain instead of the engineers. I could really see that being something, like, because you're controlling their option. You're forcing them to not be able to engage you. Like, look at it like this. What if you have a hunter captain with locusts around you, and you use it? They're forced to target you instead of the locusts.
I guess that's fine, but again, he's so slow, which means he has to get into them. And, like, since he's slow, like, he can't really get into them and use his Y ability effectively.
Well, and again, like, they have to be close to your locust to kill them, so just keep your hunter captain near your locust. That seems like it'd be a good option. Another thing, that hunter's, whatever it's called, that
Hunter's
beam,
brand.
Hunter's brand, yeah. That's broken. That is broken.
Yeah, straight broken. Like, I don't want to say nerf it because he doesn't have a teleport and he kind of needs something to fend off, but like
that's too much.
Get that thing to even just a tech 1, like just get it in, like it's good. It's really good.
It's really good. And I remember I was talking with some people and they're like, it's not even that good. It doesn't even kill units. And I'm like, that you don't understand. It doesn't need to kill units. It just needs to maybe half health them. That alone makes it broken.
Yeah, anything that's inside of its range is just at least half health. Get that thing to tech 3 and it can kill wraiths. Like, well, that's like the beefiest unit that the Banished can make.
It has a low startup time, so you basically can't dodge it, and it has a low cooldown time, so you can basically spam it. And I'm not gonna lie, in the time it would take you to rebuild your army from losing to it, they would have it back.
And not to mention something else is even if you do try to like get out of its way, when it hits, it gives all your units a debuff of their speed.
Yep.
And then you can't get out of it.
Yep. And since you're probably going to be in engagement when they use it, that means you have a weakened army to go against his army.
Which is already going to beat your army because it has buffs of its own.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, again, this isn't to say that Colony is a bad leader by any means. He has a lot of good things going for him.
And walls.
And walls, yes. But, I mean, I feel like he needs nerfed in the sense that some of his options are too strong, but because, like, right now, UNSC just really struggle with him. Or even Covenant, to be honest. But
in a direct engagement, at least.
At the same time, I think he needs a buff to dealing with the enemy trying to outmaneuver him, because late game, he just excels too, or not excels. He struggles too much. Definitely. So, what do you think about Atriox?
I want to say he's fine where he is, but I think he needs a slight buff. Like, they really hit him hard with that last, like, big patch. Like, they nerfed, like, everything he had. Like, his bulwark got nerfed to the invincibility, which I'm fine with. Having units being invincible is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember at Season 1, I would go and build a full army of stuff. I'd use invulnerability. It was like a 13-second duration or something.
I think it was 15 seconds.
It may have been. But I would just go and use it, and I would like just stand in their army, and then right as it wears off, I'd use bulwark, and that's like a 7-second vulnerability.
And right there, you basically just killed all their stuff.
Yeah, I lost like one unit for his whole army, and that's. I mean, so yeah, he needed nerf bad. He was really good, but I think he's still okay now. The thing he kind of has that would kind of make him compensate is his armies are going to be bigger because he'll have more development, so he'll have a better eco.
If you can hold the base, that is.
Yeah, that's the biggest issues because, okay, true, you can expand early, but, I mean, if they go mass infantry, then you could have trouble holding that down.
I mean, I guess you could just throw up a raid camp on your expo and make a couple grunts if that's the case. I'm more worried about them going choppers and stuff because you're already investing a lot of your early game money into the base and building on it. You're not going to be able to constantly build choppers on top of that.
Yeah, because in Covenant Mirrors, it seems like going vehicles is a really good option. I mean, I know people have said going grunts and engineers, which is, I guess, still okay. But, I mean, the fact is you're going to have trouble actually killing the choppers. And that's a problem. Because, yeah, if you try to expand, you're not going to really have any money for choppers. We've already had some tests where, basically, if you spot that the Atriox expands, first off, in the very beginning, you can just flat out win. If you grab many bases and you just rush them down with massive ghosts or choppers, they basically just can't produce fast enough. That's that.
Yep. Then even if they can't like just push up and beat you down, like you're gonna probably lose your expo, and like then you just wasted all that money on your expo, and now you're then they're just gonna push to your main, potentially strip a couple pads, and then that's it. Yeah.
I feel that expanding later with him, like, I could see you maybe wanting to go Apex to try and get engineers to heal your base, and then just maybe going mass grunts with some choppers and with some, just like that three combination, grunts, choppers, and engineers. I could see that you could try and hold it right around before you're getting Tech 2. Or maybe you want to queue it up right as you queue Tech 2, because then you'd have Fortifications 2 at least around that point. But yeah, the same problem I think keeps popping up is Shipmaster. He keeps outmaneuvering Atriox in particular. I think he really honestly does rather well against everybody else. I think he's okay-ish.
Yeah, I'd say. But again, with Shipmaster, like, you just see that he throws down Bulwark or the Invulnerability or a freaking Eradication. Either teleport away from the Eradication or just displace his army so that way it wears off. And then
or extract if you don't have either.
Yeah, I mean...
He has too many options. Too many good options. And... yeah, it's really interesting. Like, even with all these buffs that other armies are having, Shipmaster's, even though he doesn't have any buffs to his actual units...
His whole thing is just that he doesn't care if you have buffs to his units, because he's like, I'm just not going to fight your units.
And I'm not saying you should necessarily kill Shipmaster, because I really love the concept of having a unit or a leader that can try and counter other leaders' abilities. Like, I love it. And it's a different play style, and I like it.
I personally love Shipmaster. Like, I like him more than the other ones. Just not only because he's, well, technically the best, but he, like you said, he's just fun to play.
I mean, I really like defensive play styles and aggressive. I mean, that's me being me, but
yeah.
I mean, I really love Atriox, and I would love to play him. I mean, I tried to main him in Season 1, but...
Kinsano.
Yeah, she was a pain. And with Shipmaster, I mean, there's just nothing really you can do. And combine Shipmaster's quick movement with Locust. And this is kind of a mix of two broken things. Because, I mean, like I was saying, Locusts aren't really that broken on their own. You can try and have an army defend them and whatnot, but you could be necessarily losing supplies because the Locusts aren't going to really stand up to, say, Hunter or something.
Oh, no. They get destroyed by Hunters.
But whenever you can outmaneuver the enemy, it makes Locust viable. And it's basically cheese, and it's taking away from the core of Halo Wars 2.
Which is armies colliding, and
yeah.
Shipmaster's just like, I don't want to fight you, like I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm just going to use my building killers to kill your base, and then I win.
Yeah, outbase trade, that's all there is to it. And, I mean, you look at displacement, I mean, you can't really say that it's not his purpose.
We keep going back to Shipmaster.
Maybe he really does need a nerf.
I think displacement's fine is where it's at, though. Like, displacement I don't think needs hit.
So, on to another leader now, because you think there's anything else we need to touch on Atriox before that, or?
Nah, I think we're fine with him. Who's left? I think just Decimus, right?
It should be just Decimus, yeah. Decimus, he's an interesting one. I like his style. He's very aggressive. Of course, that's the description he has.
He loves to fight other units. Like and if he comes out of those with a win, he's going to kill even more units, which is what I like.
The Vortex is really nice. It can stop armies to stop them from retreating. In particular, this kind of works on the current meta due to being able to stop locusts, so you can stop them in their tracks to help you try and catch up to them. I still think ultimately he suffers because, they can still always just extract or teleport away, and that kind of nullifies the Vortex.
Although the Vortex does come back pretty quickly. No, I don't think it's as fast as a teleport, but it is. I think it's maybe only another 30 seconds or so, maybe.
Yeah. I still don't think it's enough, though, because you're arguing a Vortex that stuns units and stops them over a teleport, which is...
Or an extract, which heals them on top of that. And brings them back to the safety of your base.
Assuming it's safe.
Yes. Which, even if it's not, that's healing your base at the same time with your units. I mean, he doesn't really... he doesn't have a heal, but... No, enough about Shipmaster.
Another thing is the whole heal concept. I like his healing siphon that gives health to his units as they're attacking units, but I never understood the other one, which basically makes your units do more damage, but slowly drains their health. I just hate the concept of that.
Yeah, that's dumb.
That's really dumb.
Maybe put that in combination with the siphon health thing, where they do more damage, but they siphon the health off, and then maybe they gain the same amount of health. I don't know. We'd have to test that out.
I don't know exactly what the damage output is, but it just seems really unappealing to know that your units are constantly losing health. It'd have to be a really small amount, basically.
Yeah.
And if you make it so their units get buffed too much, you got to remember that Decimus gets a buff for his last point that makes his units do more damage anyway.
And has a speed buff.
And has a speed buff. That is a nice buff.
Plus, he has that that passive ability that every time one of his units gets a kill, it gets a buff on it as well, on top of all that.
Yeah, I think he's overall a lot stronger. I think he's almost about where he should be, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say he's fine. Maybe nerf the cooldown for the Vortex a little bit. But, I'd say that's... He's, one of the last people I'd want to see get nerfed right now. There's other people that need it way more.
The fact that we keep drawing back the whole balancing situation to teleport and Shipmaster, I mean, I think that almost says something.
Yeah, it does. It's all right, all these people are they need this and this, but if they don't have this, then Shipmaster just comes in and bye, you lose.
Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous, but I think it's at least nice to talk about these things.
By the way, we should throw this out there. This is 1v1, by the way. 2v2 and 3v3.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
I have no clue. I just do one tactics and 2v2s and stuff.
Yeah. Before we go ahead and end this, I wanted to talk about some of the matchmaking problems that this game is having, because we haven't really touched on that yet.
Yeah, I know, right? All right.
So, first off, the amount of second accounts in this game.
We did. We touched up on that one.
Did we?
Yeah, it was the first thing we hit.
Well, I think that basically wraps up this podcast that we've been doing here.
Yeah, kept on going back to Shipmaster by the end of the day, but I mean...
it does show, though. It shows some of the core problems, and... I mean, honestly, unless this game gets fixed... I've been starting to play on PC a lot more lately, and
I just played on it for the first time myself, and it was beautiful.
It is so beautiful. I mean, a lot of the problems, at least in terms of inputs and whatnot, aren't really as apparent. I mean, the units still don't function properly. Grunts still don't pick up supplies sometimes. They decide to cap a node on their own sometimes.
But at least generally when you queue something up on a building or a unit, it works. Mm-hmm. It's just so nice.
It's so nice knowing that the game actually works as intended.
For the most part.
But until they fix the game on Xbox One, it's always going to be just less than it could be. And it's kind of sad to see it like that, because I really do enjoy this game.
I mean, I've been waiting for this game I don't know about you, but I've been waiting for this game for years. Like, I played this game when I was like
7 years.
12 or something. And like, whenever everybody was like, it's not coming, I was like, I had my fingers crossed, like, it's coming. I know it's going to happen. I know it happens. I remember you even gave up on it. I was like,
I did.
It's going to happen.
I think I gave up on it in a year before its release.
And I was like, nah, it's going to happen, dude. And a year later, I was like, it's a thing. It is a thing.
Well, either way, I hope you guys took something out of this. If you have any thoughts on anything we've said, go ahead and leave a comment. Tell us what you think. I'll be looking over them. But I'd like to thank you, Ilias, for coming on to have this podcast with me.
No problem. I was glad to be here.
It was a nice talk. I really enjoyed looking over this. I feel like I almost have a reassessment of everything after all this.
Yep, and I now know why I still hate this game.
Let's hope that they give it a hot patch.
Yep, hot patch. Just fix everything and it'll be great.
Well, either way, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in another one. So take care.